pause on new equipment for the Marshals Service. What has the minister in charge firing back? A first for pediatric care in Saskatchewan, how surgeons have been able to pinpoint the source of seizures and treat them. And celebrating 150 years of Treaty 6.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the Saskatchewan Marshals Service. The Saskatchewan government has told the policing agency to push pause on buying tactical gear for a new specialized unit. And now the minister in charge is joining the premier in saying he knew nothing about those plans. Jacob Carr explains.
Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, along with Minister of Community Safety Michael Biggar, both say they were unaware of a now cancelled request for bids on a range of tactical gear for the Saskatchewan Marshals Service.
The government's asking some questions with respect as to whether that RFP should be moving forward.
The RFP, or request for proposals, listed sniper rifles, sound cannons, and night vision goggles as equipment intended for use by a new special response unit. Biggar now saying the Marshals Service still has many steps to be taken before a tactical unit could be up for discussion.
The Marshals has to get to full capacity of the 70 sworn officers, which is the target, and then there has to be collaboration and communication with our policing partners to determine if a specialized response unit actually does fit in.
Biggar also said Chief Marshal Robert Cameron was also unaware of the purchase order and that the matter has been handled internally. The provincial opposition calls it a lack in chain of command.
This isn't the way a modern law enforcement agency should operate. Saskatchewan is in the midst of a public safety crisis, and there should have been no reason for this government to waste time, resources, or public dollars on unnecessary equipment.
The Premier said this week the Marshals are intended to play a supportive, collaborative role with Saskatchewan's other police forces. Biggar says talent recruitment is the key focus point.
That's really where my focus is as the Minister of Community Safety. How do we make our communities safer? We build up our police force in the province. We talk about the good work that they're doing, the opportunities that are there for people interested in a career in policing.
Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
A crash on Saskatoon's north end caused traffic to be detoured this morning. It happened at about 6:30 at Circle Drive West near Idlewild Drive North when two trucks collided. The initial investigation has determined one of the trucks was speeding when it hit the other truck and rolled into the parking lot of the Travelodge Hotel. The impact sent the black truck about a city block down from where the crash happened. Neither of the drivers were seriously hurt. Traffic restrictions were lifted by late morning. RCMP are looking for a man who escaped police custody in Biggar. RCMP say on Wednesday at about 3 o'clock, 34-year-old Joshua Mazzeros was being transferred from the Biggar detachment into a police vehicle when he got away. He had been arrested earlier that day for breaching a release condition and driving while prohibited. Later that day, a motorbike was stolen from a home in Biggar, which officers have linked to him. Mazzaros is charged with escaping custody and theft under $5,000. Anyone who sees him or the stolen motorcycle should contact RCMP. Social Services Minister Terry Jensen is firing back against the NDP, which has been calling on him and the Minister of Mental Health and Addictions to visit 20th Street in Saskatoon. In a recent letter, the NDP blamed the province for the homelessness and addictions crisis since Prairie Harm Reduction closed earlier this year. The party wants Jensen and Lori Carr to personally visit 20th Street West to see firsthand what frontline workers are dealing with. Terry Jensen says he is in consistent contact with organizations working with people on 20th Street and says the NDP is wrong in its accusations.
Well, I take exception to that accusation. Quite frankly, I've been in Saskatoon quite a bit. I live in Warman, and I've been on 20th Street. I've been in Riversdale and Pleasant Hill numerous times. I have a great working relationship with Saskatoon Tribal Council. Riversdale BID, I've met with them numerous times.
Earlier this week, the province also said the decision to close Prairie Harm Reduction was made by the organization's own board, not the province, and that it has never funded the supervised consumption site, but did provide money for its other programs. Students heading back to Bethlehem Catholic High School in less than 2 weeks will face a temporary adjustment to their schedules. On August 7th, a fire destroyed 4 portable wings of the school that were under construction, with parts of the main building sustaining smoke and water damage. Students are scheduled to return to class on September 2nd, and when they do, the school division says they will be implementing a split-day schedule. That means students in grades 9 and 10 will be in class for 5 periods in the morning, while students in grades 11 and 12 will have 5 periods in the afternoon. Students will also do independent learning outside of class time through tutorials. The change aims to reduce the number of classrooms required at one time, as the school is currently without 26 following the fire. The 150th anniversary of Treaty 6 is being celebrated at Fort Carlton over the next few days. As Stacey Hine tells us, ceremonies and events are bringing people together to honor the historic treaty.
Celebrations are underway at Fort Carlton as Treaty 6 marks its 150th anniversary. Chiefs and community leaders lead the grand entry to honor the historic milestone. Many here say being a part of this moment is a powerful experience.
Well, amazing. We saw an eagle during the grand entry. It was obviously even made it more amazing.
This is a historic event that you won't see any other time in your lifetime, and that's something that people should take very seriously.
Fort Carlton hosts 4 days of events. It's one of the sites where Treaty 6 was negotiated and signed in 1876. The original Treaty 6 manuscript, normally kept in Ottawa, has made a rare return to the site and is on display this weekend.
It felt like it was coming home to us. The good intent that our ancestors did to negotiate for all of us and seeing it on paper.
For me, it was quite surprising to see the size of the document itself, because I assumed it was just one document, but seeing, I believe there was 11 in total, was something else.
I just came to see the document, like that's a piece of history that I'm never going to see again.
The chief of Beardy's and Okomas's Cree Nation says a year of planning ahead has led to a moment he's proud to be a part of.
It's been definitely a humbling feeling, being around all the leaders and elders and learning the ceremony portion and having our treaty bundle brought home, and definitely a huge feeling of gratitude for me.
Thousands are expected to attend this site over the next few days, with a commemoration event Sunday afternoon to mark the end of treaty negotiations. The Governor General is expected to be in attendance. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Fort Carlton.
Well, Jeff, anyone planning to be at the celebrations this weekend are going to be facing some warm temperatures.
Very hot temperatures, so as we always caution people, you know, add the sunscreen and keep in the shade and wear the right kind of clothing and hydrate, because it is going to be a hot weekend across many parts of Saskatchewan, possibly a little bit of rain in the far north, but otherwise a big area of high pressure dominating the picture, particularly across the prairie provinces. We do anticipate a little bit of welcome rain showers for parts of British Columbia, not as much as we would like. But across the prairie provinces, relatively sunny conditions and hot temperatures, and we'll tell you about the exact numbers later on.
The federal government is committing more money for virtual healthcare in Saskatchewan. As Keenan Sorokon tells us, the latest healthcare innovation is now just months away from opening.
The federal government is adding another $5.4 million of funding for the virtual health hub at Whitecap Dakota First Nation. When complete early next year, the virtual health hub will act as a command center, connecting dozens of remote and northern communities to needed medical services without having to spend hours or days in a plane or car to get to a clinic.
To me, this is not only an investment, it's also infrastructure that is going to be delivered for people. It is a healthier community, it is a stronger economy, and it is a stronger future.
Indigenous Services Minister Mandy Golmasti understands the difficulties all too well. She spent 3 days traveling from her remote community in northern Quebec to have an ultrasound when she was having children. Now, robotic ultrasonography allows a technician in Saskatoon to do that work to patients in Stony Rapids, nearly 800 kilometers north.
This is something that, really spoke to me in a very very personal way and resonated with me. Families do have to travel. They have to be away from home.
Chief Darcy Bear says Stanley Mission spends more than $1 million every year on transportation for women to receive ultrasounds. The virtual health hub is aiming to reduce and eliminate those trips altogether.
This is going to be truly a game changer, and it's all public health care.
This game changer is getting the attention of the Pittsburgh Penguins, the National Hockey League Players Association, and the Department of National Defense, who have all had meetings with Bear.
The anxiety you get just getting into an ambulance, can you imagine the anxiety that people in the North feel having to fly away from home to get care? So this is why the virtual health hub is so important.
The health hub is slated to open early next year, serving 30 communities with plans to connect to 90 different locations by 2029. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Whitecap Dakota First Nation.
A 13-year-old Saskatchewan boy will be returning to class with his friends in the next few weeks thanks to a successful brain surgery at the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital. Carla Shinkerick on the team pinpointing problem areas with epilepsy and the better outcome they are hoping to give more patients.
Noah Dobson's life changed when he was 11 years old. He started having seizures because of a brain tumor.
He was put on 2 medications at the time. They seemed to be working. Unfortunately, the seizures ended up coming back and getting worse.
After surgery in 2024, it was determined another one was needed. Last month, electrodes were put on his brain to see where the seizures were coming from.
And actually, we found that it was not just the tumor. It was also part of the brain called the insula. And so we, based on that information, we were able to plan a surgery for him.
That was the surgery to remove a section of his brain. A big concern was trying not to affect language or vision.
And we want to try to avoid those areas, obviously, to not cause any problems, but to still treat the epilepsy that he was having.
Before having this team of children's specialists at JPCH, kids would have been going elsewhere for the surgery, being separated from their support system.
They don't need to travel to other provinces or even other countries to have this done. We can be close to family.
So having this procedure available here puts Saskatchewan right up there with world-class hospitals.
It's offering in centers like Harvard University, Los Angeles, and in many other places that are trying to catch up with this technology.
Noah is seizure-free since surgery, which is very encouraging. He's grateful to Dr. Prasad and the entire medical team.
I kind of like thank him a lot, and he's awesome.
Is it because he helped you?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be the first kid that he could help here in Saskatchewan.
In just over a week, he expects to be in grade 8 full-time.
And looking forward to school.
And he is literally like a local, like a little celebrity there. It's so cute.
After a summer very different from that of his classmates, he knows his return to school will come with plenty of questions. Carla Shinkerick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan is the least accepting of gender diversity across the country. That according to a recent report from Statistics Canada. Damien Smith explains.
Saskatchewan has the lowest rate of gender diversity acceptance in the country, according to Statistics Canada. In the province, women had a 69% acceptance rate and men at 60%, compared to a national average of 77% for women and 70% for men.
It's concerning because we obviously want to create safer spaces and to have people feel better and more accepted. And with these narratives that spread hate and fear, it's really hard to promote that.
It also found that since 2018, there has been a decline of people across the country who agree that people should be able to express their gender however they choose. StatsCan says declines were steeper among men in all jurisdictions except for Saskatchewan and Alberta, where the decline was steeper among women. The survey took place from October of 2024 to July 2025 and was developed with Women and Gender Equality Canada as part of the federal government's strategy to prevent and address gender-based violence.
The data very much, they allow researchers and policymakers, victim service providers, other organizations to measure the effectiveness of programs that they may have in place, as well as to develop strategies to prevent victimization.
According to Statistics Canada, around 48,500 people submitted responses in this survey, of which 1,600 came from Saskatchewan.
1,600 people is nothing compared to 1.26 million people that are living in Saskatchewan. That represents 0.1% of the population.
To increase the acceptance rate, Alvarez says education should be used to bridge the gap on something like identity that is intimate, personal, and individual.
At the end of the day, we're all humans, and we all want to feel safe and accepted and loved. It's not nice to discriminate against others, no matter what.
Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
A group of Yorkton firefighters is doing its part to support a community member with a rare genetic condition. Regina DeClute has more on its plan to raise funds and awareness for Lenny.
Yorkton firefighters risk their lives for the community every single day, and their service continues even when they are not on the clock. This year, they are preparing to run the Queen City Marathon for a little boy named Lenny.
He's a crazy little dude, as most little boys are. Doesn't skip a beat. He's my little shadow. He likes working on cars with me, washing cars, stuff like that.
The youngest of 3 siblings, Lenny lives with a rare condition.
Our son, Lennox, was born with a rare genetic condition called hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia. It affects skin, hair, teeth, and sweat gland development.
His daily struggles include growing hair and teeth, as well as overheating due to his inability to sweat.
We did have to do a lot of our own research, and we actually kind of teach a lot of doctors about the condition. There isn't really anyone that specializes in his condition around here.
The family traveled to Minneapolis last year for a conference to better understand the condition. They also need a lifetime supply of cooling vests and various services. So the Yorkton firefighters started fundraising earlier this summer, seeking funding from local businesses. And soon, they will run the Queen City Marathon to raise more funds and awareness.
Marathon is a challenge for us. If Lenny can go through what he's going through, how old he is as well, then we can go through a struggle ourselves of running a marathon, even though we're not all pristine runners.
Above all, Lenny's family is looking to educate the public about AGD.
He's still a normal little boy, just a few extra little challenges.
The firefighters will be running in Regina on the second weekend of September. Donations can be dropped off at the Yorkton Fire Hall. Regina DeClute, CTV News, Yorkton.
Still to come, another day of dealing. Are Canada and the U.S. any closer to a new agreement? Also, a costly ruling for Prince Harry in the U.K. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. It's down to the wire as we are once again just hours away from Donald Trump's threat of 50% tariffs on a wide range of Canadian goods if a new trade deal is not reached by midnight. It was another day of intense negotiations in Washington with very little information shared with the public. CTV's chief political correspondent Vashi Kapelos with what she's watching for.
Well, there are a couple of really important things from a political perspective I think we can take from what's unfolded over the past few days, even the past few hours. The very fact that the Canadian negotiating team has been engaged as long as it has with their counterparts in the United States, even since the extension of the 338 tariffs, tells you there's actually a lot left to negotiate. Despite the framing from the U.S. president as, almost a fait accompli, those details are really salient. I'm going to tell you why using one example, the steel sector, right? So baseline tariffs, we understand from our reporting and others, will go from 50% to 25%. But The U.S. intention is to impose a quota. So steel under that quota will get 25%, but over the quota will be subject again to more punishing tariffs. So what is that quota? That's what's being negotiated right now. And it's actually a really important number because it's going to help us assess the metrics and the veracity of this deal overall. The second thing I'm really focused on is the politics of all of this. And that is because there are a few interesting things germinating from these negotiations. And the first appears to be that we will accept a baseline level of tariffs. And that's not exactly something I would say that the Canadian public has been primed for by the Prime Minister. He talked a lot about getting the best deal compared to other deals, but the other deals are not great. So if ours is not great, but not the worst, is that enough to land with Canadians who haven't really been primed for the possibility that it might not be that great of a deal at all? I think that's really a challenge for the Prime Minister when the mood of the public, as public opinion polling shows, is so much geared to not wanting to concede more to the president, to stand up to the president. How is he going to kind of reconcile those things if, in fact, the deal appears to be what it is and there is a baseline level of tariffs that remain? That's a big political vulnerability for him moving forward. Vashi Capellos, CTV News, Ottawa.
A British Columbia community is being rocked by the closure of its pulp mill. Hundreds of people have 2 months to figure out their future in what workers are calling a gut punch. And as Andrew Johnson reports, it's being blamed on a perfect storm of problems, including the trade battle with the U.S.
On a spectacular August day, a dark cloud is hanging over the future on BC's Sunshine Coast.
I can't see families staying if that is their sole base of money coming in to support their families.
Families like Andrew Appleton's.
I've got 4 kids, and I've got bills to pay, and I don't know what's going to happen after this.
Appleton's worked at the Howe Sound pulp mill near Gibson's for more than 2 decades. So do 400 others. They'll all be unemployed as of October.
It was a huge gut punch to everybody, all at the same time, from top to bottom.
And a major blow to a town that has been tied to the mill for as long as anyone here can remember.
Every restaurant, every grocery store, every business on the Sunshine Coast is going to be impacted.
The mill's owner, Domtar, is blaming reduced demand from Asia, poor prices, and a lack of wood fiber. The industry has also taken a beating from tariffs.
This storm has been coming. We know that the tariffs aren't helping. We know that the lack of a deal isn't helping.
This is the third BC mill to announce a shutdown in just the past 8 months. The union says successive governments have failed to make bold moves to keep the industry competitive.
We don't want to see ghost towns all across British Columbia, all across the country, because the governments can't get it together and deal with the forestry situation.
In the short term, hundreds of people here will need to pivot quickly. Chris Perry's at the end of his career. He fears the resource jobs the province was built on are being forgotten.
I'm old. I'm 4 months away from retirement. I just lost my job. And you're telling me AI is the answer?
Domtar is not officially closing the pulp mill. It's calling this an indefinite idling. And the union says that's enough to keep the door open just a crack in its fight to find a way to save these jobs. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Gibson's, BC.
In the UK, Prince Harry and 6 other claimants have been ordered to pay an initial $13 million to the publisher of the Daily Mail newspaper. It follows their failed invasion of privacy case. The judge said today the payment will have to be made by August 28th, and the group could face an additional $34 million in legal costs. They lost a high court case in London last month, during which they alleged malpractice, such as the illegal hacking of phones. Some of the other claimants include Elton John and Elizabeth Hurley. Cleanup efforts and damage assessment are underway in the U.S. Northeast after tornadoes touched down. The twisters struck in Dover, Delaware, and on Long Island, New York. They happened during storms that battered the region with heavy rains yesterday. No injuries were reported. Crews were on the scene today in both locations to determine the strengths and parts of the paths of the tornadoes. A state of emergency was lifted in Dover this morning. The storms also caused flooding that trapped more than 70 people in their vehicles in New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Chrissy Grant, and I'm the author of a children's book called Mikey the Southpaw Champ. I am so excited to be coming back to my hometown of Saskatoon on Monday, August 24th to do a book signing event at the Indigo on 8th Street from 11 to 3. I will also do story time at 11 and 1, and I'd love to see you there. So Jeff, what's the weather going to be like?
Well, Christy, you may not be entirely happy with me because it looks that many people aren't. It looks like we've got ourselves a rainy day on Monday, the risk of a thunderstorm. But hey, everybody will be indoors at Indigo, checking out what's going on with your book and story time. Just a reminder, with story time is at both 11 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon, even though the event lasts from 11 until 3. So 21 degrees for a high that day, just a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. So it's not a guarantee, but just keep that in mind. And once again, that's on Monday, August 24th. All right, let's take a look and see what's going on with our numbers. 23 degrees right across the board, so a whole lot of Ron Lancaster there. And winds, not particularly strong, a little breezier in Prince Albert, but not by much. North wind at 11 in Saskatoon, west-northwest wind at just 7 clicks in the Battlefords, and a lot more sunshine in the Battlefords than in Prince Albert, but still not bad at all sky-wise for all three locations. 24 degrees, so a seasonal day today here in Saskatoon. 37, that was the record warm temperature in 1894, and yes, it was 37 yesterday, and it was 1894 yesterday, so that doesn't often happen. We have 2 days in a row, same temperature, same year. 1908 and 1920 tie for the temperature on the cold side of things, 2 degrees, and the sun came up at 6 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and it's going to go down at 8:19.
Coming up, a notable creation, how one man is striking a chord with few pieces of an old Calgary hotel.
The Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame is readying to welcome the class of 2026. Monday on Your Morning, who will join Chris Getzlaff in the hall, how they'll be celebrated, and how you can be there.
Okay, let's take a look at that big blue sky. It looks like it's a great evening out there. It looks like it's going to be a great weekend. A great weekend for a law school reunion. Congratulations to the class of 2016. I believe they're having a reunion this week. So the College of Law, them lawyers, you know what? Just don't have so much fun that you get non-compos mentis. That's all I ask. Anyhow, let's take a look across Western Canada. As I mentioned, big area of high pressure. That's dominating the situation for the Prairie provinces. We are anticipating some rain, some much needed rain. It won't be a ton, but there will be some rain coming to the Okanagan and some of those areas ravaged by wildfires. A lot more rain, though, on the Sunshine Coast and on the North Coast as well. So keeping our eye on some of these storms that are moving into Ontario. It's going to be a stormy and messy weekend in Ontario and many parts of Atlantic Canada. So we've got it good here on the prairies. 23 degrees right now in Saskatoon, Prince Albert, and the Battlefords. On to our hotspot. That was Val Marie for a second day in a row. It's the hotspot yesterday at 30, today at 29. Meadow Lake, the cold spot at 6 degrees. Yes, a little chilly up there in Meadow Lake Provincial Park. Brr. All right, 22 degrees in Lloydminster, 25 in Swift Current, Regina, and Estevan, 26 in Moose Jaw, and 21 degrees right now in York and into central parts of the province. Temperatures ranging from 20 degrees in Spiritwood up to 25. That's in Kindersley and Rosetown. It's 23 in Meadow Lake and 23 as well in Watrous, and 21 in a few places, including Melfort, Hudson Bay, and Wynyard. And Waskesiu, up north, temperatures are a little cooler, but not by much. 16 degrees in Collins Bay, but it does warm up to 23. That's in Buffalo Narrows. It's 21 in La Ronge. Down south, no one's at 30 degrees, but we do have warm temperatures. Maple Creek at 28, 27 in Leader, 26 in East End and Coronac and Weyburn. Otherwise, temperatures are all in the 20s. Melville at 21. Now on to our futurecast. Well, the computer modeling indicating that yes, we're not going to be seeing a lot in the way of active weather. You can certainly see crossing just over northern parts of the province tomorrow morning. It looks like, yeah, a little bit of rain there, but other than that, the picture is dominated by that big high pressure area and those pressure lines getting a little close together, so we do anticipate some windy or at least breezy conditions tomorrow. Temperatures in the mid to high 20s for northern Saskatchewan tomorrow with cloudy or mainly cloudy skies. Mainly cloudy conditions in west central Saskatchewan. Temperatures in the high 20s, low 30s. And as we take a look at southwestern Saskatchewan, temperatures in the low 30s, 33 in Leader for tomorrow. We've got ourselves 30 degrees in Moose Jaw. Otherwise, 25 in Yorkton, 28 in Regina, 26 in Estevan. Lots of sunshine there and mainly sunny conditions and temperatures of around 26 degrees for east central Saskatchewan on Saturday. The Battlefords, temperature dropping down to 11 degrees tonight. Tomorrow, 29. And windy, though. It's going to be a hot and windy day in the Battlefords. And the rest of the weekend, 30 degrees on Sunday. Monday, a chance of showers on Thursday as well. But the temperatures, with the exception of Monday, at seasonal are warmer. As we take a look at Prince Albert, dropping down to 7 degrees, a little bit of smoke haze out there. Breezy conditions tomorrow with mainly sunny skies. And as you can see, the 7-day outlook, temperatures nicely into the 20s throughout much for the entire 7 days. But Monday, a chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm. Could be 5 to 6 millimeters of rain. Clear skies for Saskatoon, 9 degrees. The wind's backing off. 29 on Saturday, a bit on the breezy side, and then a hot Sunday in store with a daytime high of 30, cooling off a bit with a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm on Monday, but then warming up to 28 by Thursday. Live album of performances from the Tragically Hip's final tour was released today. The band embarked on their final tour a decade ago after frontman Gord Downie was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. They played in 15 cities across the country, performing their final show in their hometown of Kingston on August 20th, 2016. Downie died just a little over a year later at the age of 53.
You're not going to get away with this.
But he might.
Spider-Man Brand New Day is expected to swing into another weekend at the top of the box office. Deadline forecasts the movie, which is already Sony Pictures' highest grossing title ever, will bring in another $35 million US across North America in its 4th weekend of release. Another sequel is expected to debut in second place. Insidious Out of the Further is tracking towards somewhere in the mid-20 millions, while Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey will look to hold on to slot number 3.
Help me go home.
And speaking of The Odyssey, it is now the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. It's brought in more than $1.35 billion US in worldwide ticket sales, surpassing 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine. The star-studded adaptation of Homer's epic has already become Christopher Nolan's top grossing film, beating 2012's The Dark Knight Rises. But keep in mind, the average ticket price in 2012 was $8. It's now $15.
All right, Jeff, we are heading outside for our photos of the day.
We certainly are. And this one's very pastoral. It looks like it could be a picture from an English master or a Dutch master or some old-timey painting. But this comes to us from Lori, and Lori simply tells us this is the morning view in the Comus, Saskatchewan. So lovely colors and light there. Next from Mark. Hi, Jeff and Chantel. Photo was taken at our cabin at Martin's Lake. This male ruby-throated hummingbird coming in to get some food. What an amazing close-up. Congratulations, Mark. That is quite the photo. And finally from Sylvan Hackle, honeybees taking a drink in City Park. Oh, them bees, they be thirsty. But that's pretty wild, the way they're ringed around that bird bath. So thank you, Sylvan, for sharing that image. And if you'd like to share an image with us, you can send it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. Please put pick of the day in the subject line and shoot them on the horizontal, not the vertical. Thank you.
Still to come on CTV News, I'm keying in on a piece of history. The artist stringing together a piece of Calgary's past with its future. Calgary craftsman is bringing new life to old items. He built an electric guitar out of an exit sign from an old hotel in the city. And as Kevin Fleming reports, he's been tapped to do work on some more unique creations.
It plays a trick on your mind because it sounds like an electric guitar, but it doesn't look like one. David Blitt from the National Music Center is playing Kevin McCauley's custom-made instrument, who found the exit sign on Kijiji.
Paid him his $20, and as I was leaving his place, he said, I don't know if it means anything to you, but he said, I was on the crew that demolished the old King Eddie Hotel, and he said, this is an exit sign that came out of that. And I thought at the time, well, that's kind of cool.
That piqued Macaulay's interest because it was a venue he frequented in the 80s and 90s, listening to all kinds of live performances. First, he cleaned up the sign, then he got to work.
Basically what I did, you can't really tell from here, but I took it apart and I built a exoskeleton, if you will. So it's got a maple box basically inside of that.
Macaulay and his wife are members of the National Music Centre, and when he finished the guitar, that's where he took it.
He walked in the door of the National Music Centre in the King Eddie and handed as a gift this exit sign King Eddie guitar. That's really how it happened. He just showed up.
Would you sell us that guitar? He said, we would love to have something from the original King Eddie. And I said, no, absolutely not. I said, it's not for sale, but I said, I'll give it to you.
The head of the museum then commissioned Macaulay to build 2 more guitars out of wood saved from the restoration of the old King Eddie.
We were just kind of waiting for someone like him to walk through the door, and he did. And it's great that he's from Calgary, which is even, kind of the cherry on top, right?
I like to think that, this wood was part of the King Eddie, absorbing the musical frequencies for decades, and I wanted to keep it as true to that form as possible.
The electric guitars are now part of the museum's living collection, where artists can play them for the public to enjoy. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
When we come back, the riders get set for Sunday, and later, the Apple auction that had an interesting piece on the block.
Here's what's happening in our community. 306 Elite Dance Company presents Tenacious, its 10th anniversary celebration. That's August 21st and 22nd at the Broadway Theatre. The Persons Living with AIDS Network of Saskatchewan is hosting its inaugural Teeing Up for Care charity golf tournament. It's set for Friday, August 28th at Moon Lake Golf and Country Club. You can submit your community event by visiting our website and clicking on Community Calendar or scan the QR code on your screen. Let's take a look at Saturday in our rural areas, pinpointing a few locations, and look at these numbers. Outlook in Kindersley, 30 degrees, 28 from Meadow Lake. Going to be beautiful up at Kimball and Gregg and those lakes up there, and a lot of the lakes in the Lakeland region. Melfort, 25 degrees, mainly sunny, mainly the same situation for Hudson Bay. Wynyard, 26 degrees, mainly sunny. It's gonna be nice. And down south, a number of locations at 30 degrees or above, and if you're not at 30, you're darn close. As we get towards the eastern side of the province, temperatures drop off a little bit, but still sunny and very manageable temperatures, so things are looking pretty good. And that includes La Flèche. Look at that, 30 degrees tomorrow. We have partly cloudy skies, winds out of the southeast 20, gusting to 40, so a pretty pleasant day shaping up in La Flèche. And that's one of the places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Ahead of their matchup with the BC Lions Sunday evening, some injured riders are looking to return to the lineup in time for kickoff. Receiver Samuel Emelis may be back this week, along with O-linemen Zach Fry and Daniel Johnson, as well as Ali Saad on the defensive side. On kick returns, James Letcher Jr. has been inching his way back to the lineup after a broken arm in week 4 needed surgery to repair, averaging 24 yards on kickoff returns and about 14 yards bringing back punts. He's hoping to be ready to go this week.
Coming off 6 with Lech, is you trying to get the best idea, see if we can give as many reps as possible, see what they can handle, see if they feel like they can do it, and then ultimately, sit down and talk with the docs to see what that looks like. So, kind of the same boat, man. We'll see what that looks like for them towards the end of the week.
Whenever I first got back on the field, it was a little rough, just for being out so long, not being able to do certain things while my arm was hurting, but it took a couple days and I was back to where I was supposed to be.
The last time Letcher Jr. played at BC Place, he returned a kickoff 66 yards for a touchdown. With American liquor poised to make a resurgence on Canadian store shelves, local distillers continue to face challenges selling their products in Canada. CTV's Alison Bamford has more on the stubborn roadblocks to interprovincial trade.
From the backyard fruit bushes to the golden grain fields, 95% of the ingredients in these whiskey and gin bottles are locally grown. Some of it even aged in Canadian oak barrels.
We're pretty proud of these guys.
Co-owner Barb Stephanician Cote says the emphasis on Canadian-made at Black Fox Distillery came long before the trade war.
We get to showcase what we can do here. That's what's important.
But selling the homegrown product at home is harder than it sounds.
It has been easier to ship into other countries than it has been to ship into other provinces.
About 20% of Black Fox's products are shipped overseas. The rest is sold domestically throughout the prairies, leaving most of the Canadian market untapped. But the requirements to get their products on those shelves vary and usually mean added paperwork and costs.
If those markets open up, there's a huge potential for us.
Recent changes allow producers to ship alcohol directly to consumers across the country, but the Canadian Federation of Independent Business says that only attracts a small percentage of customers, and producers would be better off if alcohol was added to the Canadian Mutual Recognition Agreement.
It would essentially allow a product that's produced in one province and approved in one province to be approved anywhere across Canada without the additional fees.
Distillers here say the push to buy Canadian, especially within the liquor industry, brought on a noticeable increase of domestic sales. And they hope that sentiment continues even after American booze is put back on the shelves.
I think what they're finding is Canadians make some pretty darn good products, and now they're happy to support us.
Support that she says would only grow if her products were in stores across the country. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Statistics Canada says retail sales were up in June. Morella Fernandez has more.
Sales hit just over $74 billion in June, with general merchandise retailers getting the biggest boost. Clothing and jewelry retail also popped, up 3% month to month. But lower grocery purchases brought food and beverage retail down. Now, in dollar amount, Ontario had the highest sales in June and Alberta the lowest. E-commerce sales were up almost 10% that month, hitting $5.7 billion. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 72.63 U.S. West Texas Intermediate up to 87.06 U.S. a barrel. Western Canadian Select is up to 67.66, and the TSX gained 254 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Coming up, the unusual piece from a science fair that fetched a hefty price. Then, when robots get their own park.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us for another great night of television starting tonight at 7 with W5. Well, an 8th grade science project by Apple co-founder Steve Jobs has just sold for a pretty penny. The project was titled, "What is the Silicon-Controlled Rectifier?" This was hand-built by Jobs for his 8th grade science fair. It features a display board and a 10-page report. It's part of Apple's 50th anniversary auction, which has been accepting bids since July. And Jeff, it sold yesterday for $27,500 US. So
that's pretty cool.
That is
exactly.
Yeah, what you're going to do with it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You would think it's going into somebody's collection of computer
maybe
knickknacks.
Could be. Well, robots have taken center stage at the launch of a new South Korean entertainment park. The robots dance to K-pop hits in a blend of pop culture and robotics, as you can see. And the company behind the event says the combination could offer a new model for live entertainment. But the question remains, would K-pop fans from around the world visit the park just to watch the robots instead of going to an actual concert? The company says it doesn't really know yet, but says testing indicates that people are interested. So.
Well, you know, it's like, look, if we've got the hologram shows, things like that, and if you can get robot versions, it's like, hey, it's Robot ABBA. They're on stage. You know, there's probably
a novelty to check out.
Yeah, exactly.
Once or twice.
Robot ABBA, Waterloo. Anyhow.
Robot weather.
She's the dancing queen, young and sweet. Only 17. Anyhow, 18 degrees tomorrow morning at 9. By noon, 23. Mid-afternoon, close to 30. And by 5 o'clock, it's still going to be sunny and it's still going to be hot, 28 degrees.
little bit breezy tomorrow, but
a little bit breezy.
Not bad.
You know, hey, manageable. And with those temperatures, that might be a welcome breeze.
This is true. Well, earlier this week, dogs in Saskatoon were cooling off, making a splash. And the annual Dog Day of Summer was a chance for pups to take a dip in the pool and have some fun at Mayfair Pool, which had closed for the season. We'll leave you with some of the highlights. Have a safe and happy weekend.
Bye-bye.